You mentioned Aaron Rodgers, and I wanted to kind of touch on that a little bit. Aaron Rodgers, of course, stepped up with a huge donation to support the victims of the fire through you and your team. Mark Benioff is the CEO of Salesforce. He mentioned you as in a conference call to investors, to institutional investors, a few months ago, to say that this is an organization that people should support in helping the campfire. Those type of call-outs, those type of big people that industry and just rank and file folks walking the street know and look at and say, wow, they're supporting that. What does that do to the smaller donors when they say, hey, this is obviously place I want to go to support, when they see those big donors stepping up and taking matters in their own hands and donating to your organization?
Yeah, I don't know what their reaction is. I mean, my hope would be that they would say, oh good, they got it too, that this is the right place to go to. We've talked about it a little bit, but our role from day one was not only to collect the money, but was to get it out to the organizations that were serving the people. And we have been doing that 24/7 since November 8th. Literally around the clock. We just granted another $150,000 yesterday to organizations on the ground, and we've just hit $8 million that has been donated to the organizations directly touching, serving people impacted by the campfire. And my hope would be, whether somebody has given $5 or $1 million, is that they know they are us, we are them, we're all in this together, and their donation, to whatever degree they were able to contribute, is getting into work to reduce the suffering of the campfire folks.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because I actually printed that out. I wanted to kind of talk about some of these, because this just was the other day that some of the funding that you've done. The Throwing Starfish Foundation, $20,000 to provide items on Amazon wish lists for campfire families, offset the cost of rent, provide relocation assistance, and provide help for people off the grid. California Vocations, $25,000. Bidwell Wildlife Rehabilitation, $15,000. I mean, this is a list of all these wonderful, Paradise Elementary School. I mean, all these wonderful organizations that are stepping up and want to help. And they want to help because they want to help, but then you can fund them so they can help more.
Exactly.
I mean, that's just a great, and I read just a few of them, there's a lot of them. But I mean, that's just great, and you're promoting it so that people are seeing that money's being allocated, and the people who are giving know it's being used in the right way. How do you, what are, maybe the show's part of it, how do you use media to get that word out there?
So what we decided on the third day after, so November 11th, we decided that every grant we made, we were going to post in real time as best as we could on our website. And then we mirrored that on Facebook, and then of course we had our team push that out to local media platforms. The whole idea was transparency, because we were not some outside group coming in to raise disaster dollars. What we were was a local community foundation that had been serving the nonprofits and community, including Paradise and the Ridge. In fact, I brought on the Paradise Community Foundation under our umbrella maybe 8 years ago. So we've been intimately involved in Butte County and Tehama and Colusa and Glenn counties for years. What I knew and what we knew, I think instinctively, was because of the scale of this tragedy, that we need to be very upfront and transparent where the dollars were going. We knew we were going to get them to the nonprofits, but not everybody knew who we were. Money was pouring in from, you mentioned Salesforce, you mentioned Aaron Rodgers. Money was pouring in because somebody somewhere said this is the right group, but we wanted them to see it in real time, what we were doing, because we were getting the money out to pretty much any nonprofit organization that could prove that they were helping folks that had been impacted by the campfire, and animals, and the list goes on, specifically with childcare, with mental health services. You mentioned some of them, but at NVCF.org you see a complete list of every grant we've made and what it's gone toward, and we've been doing that. I'd say the miscalculation on my part was I didn't anticipate how much work that was going to be. I just said, well, of course we'll do it and we'll share it.
Right.
And I'm sure people on my team knew how much work that was, but my thought was we have to. We're stewarding these dollars. We're playing a different role, like I alluded to earlier in the conversation. This was now us making the determination. And so I wanted to be just completely transparent with it. And when in the time of social media and the internet, I think there can be a lot of misunderstanding and miscommunication. And we just wanted to get out in front and say, no, our fee's 1%. We'll never charge more than a penny on the dollar. And also, we could never be all those industries. We could never become a child care provider overnight, or an educational institution, or a senior care facility, or an animal rescue mission. What we could do best was find the ones on the ground and make sure that their doors could stay open, because a tragedy of this size could literally shut down nonprofits trying to help. So we figured very early on that strategic philanthropy was the best role we could play in leveraging our dollars. So back to the question before your last, I just hope that anyone that has given somehow has heard the work that we're doing, because they made it possible. And I'm just as grateful for, the one girl walked in and she had like $7, individual ones. She'd gone door to door in her neighborhood. I'm just as grateful for that heart and that willingness to do something, like you said, in the face of something so terrible, as I am for Aaron, taking the time in his busy life to figure out who to call to verify, who to go to. And then his reaction with me was, how can I help? So that's been our hope, to share the story and get it out there so that people know that what they're doing matters, and that, I've told my team so many times, it's like our hearts were broken and we had so many tears in the early weeks and months from the pain and the hurt and the heartache. And now we're starting to hear all the positive stories, the survival stories. The mom with the 2 kids that found a new life now for herself in Sacramento and got the job situated and is stable, a stable environment. And so I think that as time moves forward, we'll start to see and hear more and more of those stories, because we know there's still so much pain and suffering.
Yeah.